reflecting upon my initial plans for these 3 months and what I wanted to do, and then looking at kind of actually what I have or have not done. Unless I'm taking that time for reflection, how can I refresh, or how can I kind of reset myself and then refresh if I'm not actually kind of, I'm gonna say reflecting a bunch of times, but if I'm not reflecting upon that this time and the things that I'm doing, how do I expect to make changes from that? Reflecting upon this sort of first month that's gone past, and actually what I wanted to do, and my kind of intention about biblical health and biblical, I suppose, restoration into a positive mental health, I made a few notes about things that I want to do over October, and especially looking at the Bible for guidance as to how I can improve. I've got 5 I suppose actions for me to do over October, and I'm not going to stress about it going into November. If I can, that's great, but this is just for me over October, and the things that I want to do to make this a better month for me. So number 1 is rest, and that is something I guess I've struggled with. I don't like the idea of wasting a day because I've just taken I don't want to say taken a chill day, but unless I'm ill, I don't like the idea of just taking a chill day, because I should be going out and doing something, and should be cleaning, or should be with friends, and I mean that's good that I don't want to just lie down all day, but at the same time actually I think I need those days off where I'm not thinking about, oh, I should be working, or feeling guilty for taking the time out because I have worked all through the week. There's nothing wrong with that. And thinking biblically about it, rest is important. On the 7th day he rested. God took time out to rest. It is in the creation story, oops, nearly knocked over my coffee. It is in the creation story that God rested on the 7th day. So actually, I think that's a pretty biblical thing to do, is to make sure I'm taking time off once a week to rest. And what day exactly, I to be honest, in a way, I don't think it really matters. But I realise I need to be taking a Sabbath day, and actually that needs to be not on my phone, not necessarily. I think sometimes it's okay to watch things because that's not like dealing, that's not work as such, but almost, yeah, taking a day off just to not be overburdened by everything that's coming at me, but taking those Sabbath days and really switching off. I'm definitely going to have to re-listen to, I've already listened to it several times, The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer, because I think that really highlights the biblical necessity and relevance, and especially now in a culture where we are 24/7, of why we need to take Sabbath. So for me, it's rest, it's taking those times out. And oh yeah, my notes as well, got Jesus, because actually he made sure that even in the midst of his ministry, and that was only such a short few years, there are points when it says, and Jesus went away from the crowds, and he took time to rest and spend time with his friends, but also just to pray and be with God. So I think if Jesus is doing it, it's a pretty good indicator that that is something that I need to try to do. And then number 2 is getting out. So one of my plans for these 3 months was getting out and going out on walks and enjoying the nature and the beautiful place that we live in. Plymouth was gorgeous anyway, but we've got so many different spots of beauty around us, and I want to get out and do those things and visit and enjoy my National Trust membership that I haven't really been able to use this last year. But it's going out in nature, and I keep kind of putting it off because I've got stuff to do and things. And again, Jesus went out, and he went out to be with God, and for me, going in nature is a way that I connect with God, and so I need to be going out more. And yeah, sometimes I don't want to do it on my own, or and it's too hot for the dog, or it's too wet for the dog. I need to just go out regardless. So I need to be making sure, planning and committing to going out. So I need to just be like choosing an activity and committing to it and doing it and just getting outside, because yeah, like it's not great to be stuck in a room. And you know, especially here, that like our desk is in the bedroom because we don't have an office here, and that's fine, but there are some times I kind of realise that other than the dog walk or a run, I'm pretty much in this room for, I don't know, 20 hours a day. It's not great, but yeah, so I'll need to get out before the weather really changes, and it's not great. And then number 3, and this is something that I suppose we could all do a little bit more with, is reading the Bible more. In setting my kind of October plan of my morning routine, or kind of things that I want to do, I'm making sure I'm factoring in a lot more time to spend reading the Bible. So on top of using the YouVersion Bible app for their daily readings, I am trying to get back into the Bible studies and going deeper into those ones, and then taking either the daily verse or some of the verses that I found in the Bible readings, and going and reading kind of like the chapter, or sort of, you know, a bigger chunk of the text rather than just the 1 or 2 verses. And actually that's really interesting, because I think that's giving me a broader insight into actually the context of that reading and how that fits in, and it's not just the one verse and taken out of context into what was being meant by the author. Me to be a lot more familiar about where the readings come from, so when I'm trying to find Galatians or Ephesians or I don't know, Job, that actually trying to find it in the Bible, I've got a bit more of a clearer idea of where it is, because sometimes I just don't know. Also on reading the Bible, yes, from a spiritual and my personal discipleship journey, that's hugely important and kind of predominantly the reason why. But on top of actually my studies, some of the people are really smart. They know the Bible so well, and like when we're talking about theological or ecclesiological, which means the study of a church and the structure of a church, you know, aspects, so not Bible but actually the kind of cultural context of it, then they're pulling out these Bible verses, or they're saying, oh well, so and so said this and so said that, and I'm going, what? I have no idea where that is, or how you put that together. So for me, actually, I think reading my Bible more is going to help with my studies more, because I'm going to have this kind of like, well, actually, Paul said this, or Paul said it in this way. So yeah, on top of actual spiritual and daily life, Bible reading will obviously help. I think actually it will really help with my studies as well. I am also like working my way through Proverbs, so every day is the corresponding chapter in Proverbs. You know, you can't go wrong with Proverbs. I think that's one of my favourite books, because there's so much practical advice, and you know, there's a lot of things that we take out of context, or we use them as a nice poster graphic or something. There's so many verses that you can kind of do as a tweetable quote or something, and yeah, they're great, but there's lots of little hidden, not meanings, but just bits that you go, oh, actually that's true, that really still counts today. And so I think that it's sort of, whilst the whole Bible it can be applied to 21st century life, I think particularly Proverbs, it's a lot easier to pull it out and actually apply it to now, without needing a lot of kind of cultural translation. Then number 4 is one that I feel will work better if I've got these first 3 down, and that is reflection time. What do I want to do? Who do I want to be? For the last few years, and I think it was really highlighted over the pandemic, that people had these times to kind of go, I don't want to do this anymore, I do want to do this, or I'm changing my life around. I haven't had that chance and that time, and this is what this time is for. And I think that by spending more time with God and praying about it more and being more confident in the Bible, that will help my influence and decision making as to where I want my future to be. And I'm starting to see that. I am starting to feel more confident in the decisions that I want to make, but I've still got a long way to go. And you know, I had a bit of a breakthrough last week with something and felt really good about that, and then I have this kind of sinking pit the next day. So still got work to do, but I think if I've got the first 3 down, this one will be strengthened. But then I actually need to be spending the time going, right, what do I really want to do? What do I really want to do? Who do I really want to be? You know, where do I really want to go? And commit to those dreams, commit to those goals and the action plans that I need to do to get there. Because I don't think that having this, there's a couple of different ways that I feel I could look at this time off. Is just, oh, it's 3 months off and I had a jolly, that was fun. Or going, actually I used it as a time to transform me, my way, not my way of thinking, but who I was, and how, I don't know, not how, just how I connected with God during this time and built that relationship with him, and have come out of this intentionally and definitely changed, both through him and through the actions and routines that I have created around myself to make that happen. And unless I'm taking that time for reflection, how can I refresh, or how can I kind of reset myself and then refresh if I'm not actually kind of, I'm gonna say reflecting a bunch of times, but if I'm not reflecting upon that this time and the things that I'm doing, how do I expect to make changes from that? Then number 5 is a more practical thing that isn't necessarily, well, it is something I want to do, but I need to plan my time better. And I realise that's probably where a lot of September and these first few week and a bit of October has gone, is because I am not planning my time enough, and I am not setting aside time for reading. I just feel like I fit my reading in around. I'm not setting my time for exercise. I'm just kind of willing it as I feel like it. I'm not setting my time for, I'm going to go out on a 2-hour walk and then going and doing with it. Sort of just ambling along, and then I go, like, at the end of the day, well, what happened to Wednesday? Where did... No, it's a film. That's Monday, isn't it? What happened to Monday? But what happened to the day? How is it 6 o'clock already? So I need to be intentional with my day. Another brilliant book that I have listened to twice over like mid-September, I think I started it on the route up to London, is Routine Machines by John Lamerton, and he is, I would call him a friend, kind of. I knew him in Plymouth, he's from Plymouth, and he's done a book about building routines that help your life, and that he is mostly addressing it from a business perspective, but actually he talks a lot about his health and fitness and, you know, all aspects of your lifestyle. So I'm trying to again build those routines in my life that will help me to be better at the end of this and going forward, and that will help me to not get distracted or overwhelmed or lost in where I'm going. And one of the things he talks about is the jar story about filling with rocks, and then little pebbles, and then sand, and then water. And the trouble is that if you fill it with water first, that's all the other little stuff that fills up our life, then you've got no space to put the big rocks and the pebbles. Whereas if you fill it with the biggest stuff first, those immovable objects, then actually everything else has to fit around it, and that is the right thing to do. So, you know, I need to set my time for my immovable objects and do them. And one of the things that I'm happy with, I mean, I'll never be perfectly there with it, but is first thing in the morning, 90% of the time, it's read my Bible, journal, and, you know, do some reading, do my like the Bible studies, and I set aside that time to do that. And that's my routine that I do. Josh knows that I do it now, and he knows not to come in and talk to me straight away when I'm out. At those immovable objects of all aspects of my life, and make sure that I'm working the other things around it, and that's when I'm not getting overwhelmed, because I know the things that are priority are done first. So I need to schedule and commit to my decisions and my actions and my commitments, and actually to go through with it. And one of those ways that I'm trying to do it is through a journal, well, a diary that I was given as a farewell present from TPT and the churches that I was working with, and it's very lovely. And it was a little bit overwhelming to begin with, like, as to how it all worked. I have to be honest, actually I'm getting into the habit of the different aspects of it, and it's helpful. It really is helping me, because it's got kind of half an hour breaks within the pages, so being able to plan out my time, especially where I have these lots of different compartmentalized bits, has been really good. So that was my 5 points of reflection over September and the actions that I want to take going forward into the rest of October. It's not an exhaustive list of things that I want or need to do, but I'm hoping that they will be the first few steps in helping me to recover from my time of burnout as I reset, refresh and renew over the next couple of months. I'd love to know if there's anything that you find particularly helpful or useful in either taking your Sabbath days. Do you actually take a Sabbath day off? Or if you've ever had to take a kind of extended time, what are things that you've found particularly helpful? I appreciate that everyone is different and will find sort of rest and relaxation and connection to God in different ways, but I'd love to know what other people have found helpful. If you are new, it would be wonderful if you could subscribe to the channel and press the bell, and you will always get a reminder of when I do upload a video. But if you have enjoyed this or found it helpful, please do give a thumbs up. It really does help me know that I'm kind of going in the right direction. Thank you again for joining. I hope and pray you are doing well, and I will see you all soon. Bye.